adjourn, yeah.
You better address this. So I went to Andrew right away.
And then we had the problem a couple days later.
Right.
Well, with the, especially the planning board, that's technical.
Yeah, you can't play with it.
We could do summary, summary and whatever, construction.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mount Olive Township Council meeting and workshop for August 21st, 2018. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for all those that paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect and serve us. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Michelle, would you read the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act with notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda. Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mrs. Labow.
Here.
Mr. Mania.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. DeCastro.
Here. I'd just like to welcome Bryce Abrams, who is next to the mayor. He's here for the Eagle Scout, to make his Eagle Scout. And welcome. Next up, we have a lot to recognize, Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. We're really happy that you're here, and this seems to be an annual event for us to have the girls softball program in here to recognize them for their outstanding achievements during the year. Year after year after year, we're amazed by the effort that the Mount Olive Junior Baseball and Softball Association is putting into our programs, and the coaches, the parents, and the successes that we've had. This year, we are honoring, I guess, 3 programs, the 8U, the 10U, and the 12U, and I'd like to go through some of the achievements for the record in terms of how well each team did. With respect to the 8U program, the girls had an overall record of 37-2, which is just outstanding. My understanding is that the girls took first place in the Rockaway Rampage Memorial Day Tournament, first place in the West Milford Extreme Heat Challenge Tournament, first place in the Verona Tournament, first place in the League Championship, first place in the Mount Olive Summer Slam Tournament, Northern New Jersey Babe Ruth State Champions, second place Babe Ruth Mid-Atlantic Regionals. Congratulations. I'd like to call up the head coach with Greg. Yeah. And we have some certificates for the girls. First of all, congratulations. If you want to call the girls up, we should have these certificates. Ava Kilker.
Jillian Migliacci. Emma McNeil. Haley Collins. Grace Verua. Gabby Safola. Emily Lim. Amaya Jimenez. Emma Carnival. Riley Fazioli. Thank you.
You know what? Let's do a picture with all the girls and the entire town council also up front here. I'm going to put it up on our Facebook page. So, come on, all the girls up here. The entire town council also.
I think this is the only group I'm taller than.
Some people on this side? Why don't you guys go on that side?
And the coaches team.
Yeah, coaches also. Coaches have to lie across the front. Across the back.
Oh, Mike, I think we're okay.
Boarded that season, 85 of these. So, we'll go full.
Okay. Why don't you guys just stay up over here? You guys can go. Okay. We're going to do pictures with each one. Yeah, you guys can stay here.
My snack was strong. It's nice. Beautiful.
You guys all hear me? You guys all hear me? To the UA girls, I have to tell you that the reason that we bring you up here is to honor you, number one, because you guys were so tremendously good, but more importantly, the pride that you bring to our town through your victories, through your sportsmanship, is something that needs to be recognized. So we're going to put it up on Facebook, and you should be very proud on behalf of everything that you personally accomplished and what you brought to the township. Because we all love living in Mount Olive, and we love when you guys are successful. So thank you very much on behalf. It's amazing to me. I have the highlights of all three teams, and it is just phenomenal how good our girls softball program is in Mount Olive. The 10U girls overall record 41-8-4. First place. First place Bridgewater tournament. First place North Brunswick tournament. First place Mount Olive Summer Slam tournament. Second place West Milford Extreme Heat Challenge tournament. Second place Rockaway Rampage Memorial Day Weekend tournament. Babe Ruth Northern New Jersey State Champions. Babe Ruth Mid-Atlantic Regional Champions. And at this point, I'd like to call up Keith. Congratulations. Wonderful success. Yep. I'm going to hand it up to the girls. No speech? You can give a shot. Took this away. Spend hours writing that.
All right, thank you for having us and honoring the girls. It was a lot of hard work. I do want to thank my coaches, my parents, and our president, Rich Zed, for always supporting the girls and doing a phenomenal job. All right, girls, stand behind me. Come on up. Sophia Barrios. Lexi Esposito. Sophia Barua. Taylor Bush. Ellie Costanza. Madison. Catherine Kramer. Nicole Dolan. Brooke Collins. Unfortunately, Gianna DeLuca moved to North Carolina, and she's, we'll try to nail that to her. All right, Mia, Zebi. Should I call the coaches on? Okay.
Get in the picture, so.
All right, Neil. Ryan Bush. Kevin Collins. Picture with all the girls up front too, and the coaches too. All right, 10 you girls up front, picture. With all those wins, tournament wins, they must be used to taking pictures.
We're doing nothing.
Is there one by that basket? Is there one behind your basket? There you go. Alright. Yeah, I don't think that one was working either. Anyway. I don't think that one was amplifying.
You gotta get a guy tomorrow. Gotta get a guy.
Gotta find a guy.
Thank you. Thank you. He wants you to autograph this stuff. He wants you to autograph this. Oh, here's one. You want me to write on it?
Oh. I don't know what that is. He only does cups and things. He decorates cups, yeah.
They fixed this. The lights is upside down.
Thank you very much. Hey. Everybody with me? Last but not least, 12 you girls. Overall record, 37-10. Once again, doing us all proud in Mount Olive as I start to go through some of their accomplishments in this year, and it's just absolutely remarkable how well you girls did and how excited I am to see you back here as U13 and then playing high school softball and winning conference and county and state tournaments as they come up through your years. First place, Rockaway Rampage Memorial Day Tournament. It sounds like we took all the hardware home from Rockaway. First place, Flemington Flames Fling Tournament. Second place, Mount Olive Summer Slam Tournament. First place, July Challenge Tournament. State champions. Babe Ruth Mid-Atlantic Regional champions. And then a fantastic showing, 5th place at the Babe Ruth World Series. Congratulations. Guys, pull up Mike at this point to give out the certificate. I'll just speak to yourself. No matter what he said. Good job. First, Gianna, here's for you.
U12, which we're going to do the second grade.
Yeah, just want to acknowledge one player that came in late for my AU team. Apparently the traffic on Clover Hill Drive is crazy this time. It's all good, so.
Yes, okay. Let's do the U12, and then we're going to take another picture with the U8 with everybody in it. Great, thank you. Okay, so the U12, 12 girls.
Probably nothing. Just burst a little vessel or something. Probably something insignificant. So I have to give you
I just read the newspaper, because I used to wait till I got home, and I said I'm sitting in meetings every night. One less thing when I get home. Eliminated paper.
I like reading paper still.
So you know what?
I always print things out and then read it. I can't read off the computer.
Half the time it's getting thrown out and they never open it, because I read it anyway.
Right.
And now, I didn't realize it was I was paying like $8 a quarter. Now so I just saved up to $60 a year. It don't mean something when you think about it, right? Saving a tree every 10 years.
Now we got to get a guy in to fix this. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Are we gonna? No, they're all good. Yeah, maybe it's got to be.
See, Joe, congratulations, well done.
Rip that mic out.
Congrats.
It's not even plugged in. It's not that one.
Boy, that'll clear out the place.
See you later.
Yeah, it was good. Very disappointed though. That they were here for me. Council.
No, because everything is hardwired.
The room will clear out now.
Where's the noise? Do you know where it's coming from?
Huh?
Where it's coming from?
No, I have no idea.
Don't we have a-
I'm hoping once they all leave, maybe. I'm going to have them in here now to check the mics.
Yeah, something's not
They
right.
just fixed this now again.
We need a new sound system.
It was broken.
We need a new sound system.
It's ridiculous.
It should be louder anyway, because you don't even hear these things. You can hear it when you go into it.
The idea is you need to talk into the microphone.
Really into it.
That's what the guy said.
why?
But there's no reason for all this feedback. I'm going to tell him how bad it was. We had a room full of people. I have no idea. You say it's calming down now?
Yeah, I think there's too much noise or something in here. It's picking up something.
I don't know.
Now it's okay. Okay.
Something with the feedback. I don't know.
We're still on, right? We're still good. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda for discussion is the bond sale. Sherry, I guess? Gary?
Good evening. I'm very disappointed
I thought they were all here for the bond sale. So,
He's just upset he didn't get a certificate. That's
that's it.
World's best auditor.
I'll take the U60 team. All right, good evening, everyone. What you have before you is a budgetary impact analysis of a proposed sale of bonds for both the water utility and your general capital fund. If you have a worksheet that you got to turn a little bit sideways and has ordinance numbers on the left, it says 2018 bond sale. The current fund, as we call it, because that's where it's being paid from, but it's really ordinances that you've adopted over time and are reflected in the general capital fund. There's 4 ordinances. You'll see the first column after the description is the 2017 notes that are outstanding that are going to be paid off, and then additional amounts that you're going to add. Either you hadn't put it in the note sale last year, or in the case of Ordinance 518, you just passed that ordinance this year. But when you get to the grand total column, $8,260,000 basically will, if you want to use the words, mop up all your unfunded authorizations. This will take everything that's on the books and permanently finance it. If you get over to the far right, there's a weighted average calculation that must be done, and under the local bond law in New Jersey, you cannot issue bonds for any greater period than the average useful life, which in this case is 9.877. So when we turn the page in a second, we actually have a 10-year installment payout, but it's paid out in less than 10 years because the bonds are going to be dated October, but your first payment comes due next August 15th. So we were able to gather and do this over 10 payments. However, it is still 9.877 or less because we've taken and used the period of time between August 15th and the closing date in October. So if you turn the page, the proposed sale goes something like this. You have your existing debt service as your base number for 18 of $4,325,966. What we're attempting to do is not have any increase in debt service at all over the baseline number, and we've accomplished that within the parameters that you're guided by. The first one is no principal payment can be more than twice the smallest payment. So you'll see the first payment in 19 on the principal side is $435. Doubling that, the highest is $870. So we've worked within the law as to the lowest and highest installment payment you can have. We've worked within the 9.875 years by backing down to your first payment being shorter than a year. And we've used an interest rate of 3.25%. As an indicator, we had a sale in the past couple of weeks for another one of our clients who were similar in the rating category to you, and they got a 2.6% for 12 years. So unless something changes really off the charts between now and the end of September, we feel that this pro forma budgetary impact analysis at 3.25 should hold, and hopefully you'll be under 3. All right? So where you look in 19, your combined debt service with the new issue, you're about $13,000 below the 18 number. We've kind of dovetailed the debt service decrease in 19 into including the new sale number. So basically the homeowner, an average home at $315,000, should see no increase in the debt service component of the budget in 19, and then as you see the other years, it just drops even lower. But assuming down the road you may have another sale in the 2-3 years, but at this point, by the time you get to 2021, you'll be able to fill or backfill in additional debt service. So the whole objective here, working with Sherry and administration, was to just have a bond sale within the criteria under the local bond law, but have no impact to the debt service component of the budget in 19. And I think this schedule is accomplished.
Excellent work.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Mr. Roman?
Gary, what's in the last 10 years, what has our combined debt service been on average? Are we staying steady, or is there a projection that we're going increasing?
It's been dropping.
Okay.
We've been paying off debt aggressively as part of our program.
You've been between 8 and I don't think you've gone as high as 12 years even, 8 and 10 years on all your permanent funding.
And if I'm correct, I think it's been as a percentage of our total budget, it's been decreasing.
Yes.
And
this picture the next 10 years is going in the same direction you've been going in. So, it should continue.
And what's our credit rating again?
AA plus.
Just below.
One notch under AAA.
Although we're looking into the possibility of getting it to AAA.
We're hoping. I mean, there's
There's
a
no
few
reason we shouldn't be AAA.
There's a few issues out there that are really holding back some of the New Jersey borrowers now, and it's the debt load of the pension fund down in the state. When Moody's and Standard & Poor's rate you, they take that into account, even though you're not responsible for the pay down. And one of our larger communities, who was my client, we were on a call for about an hour a week or two ago, and he happened to be the former state treasurer, battling it out with Standard & Poor's. And he's been looking to get a AAA rating, and he's just like you, AA plus, and they just keep holding back. And he says, we pay the bills when they present them to us. The fact that they have this huge black hole in liability down there, they put it into their calculations, however they do it in a big computer, and it kind of takes the hit. But you, with a AA plus and a AAA, I don't think in the interest rate market, I don't think it really means much of anything. I mean, they know your credit at AA plus is, it's high on the status. So you wouldn't see a tremendous change in the interest rate in my mind if you were that one notch higher.
And what are the possibilities of the Fed increasing rates in the coming years? Would that affect us significantly?
If it happens, it happens, but that's why we're going with where the marketplace is now. Very good. If we can get under 3%, that's still historically low, going out approximately 10 years.
I moved up the sale, Alex. We normally have it later in the year, but because I expected the interest rates might change, that's why we're doing it a little bit earlier.
Right. It did it felt a little warmer than we usually do it.
Yeah,
Usually a little bit
it's
more
a little
nippy
early.
out.
It's usually November when I do it, but I was like,
There's no reason to wait, and it's not going to have an impact on what happens in next year's budget, whether you do it next week or December. So you might as well get it over with and still ride the low rates at this point.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
You guys have done an excellent job.
All right. So now, if we look at the water capital side, this one just has a little different twist. If you look, your 2017 note is $2 million for the two ordinances. The one ordinance, 4 of 16, is going to get reduced, and you'll use the cash from the old note to pay down a portion of it. And then we're taking into account the new ordinance 618 for a total sale of $1,665,000. Here, your average useful life is 16.1. So you can go out further. And what we did was we took advantage of that for the water utility and did push it out for 15 years. And here we actually use 375 because every time you go out a few more years, you're going to pay a higher interest rate. But hopefully that still is going to be closer to the 3 in this case. The one thing happens here, you see your baseline debt service for 18 is roughly $189,000, and you're going to go up almost $100,000 for the next few years. And then it comes back in 2023, similar to the 2018 number. What you have on your side here is two things when you look at the budgetary impact. One is the surplus in the water utility as of 12/31/17 was approximately $900,000. And secondly, what you've been budgeting to balance your budget with respect to water user fees is below what you've actually been realizing by over $100,000. So it's hopeful that you won't even have to use fund balance, but just bump up your user fees to what you're actually receiving and cover this additional increase in the debt service component that goes on about 4 years. So you're in a good condition that you don't have to look to raise the water rates to cover this increase. You have two tools in the toolbox, one being surplus and one being the fact that you haven't pushed your revenues to the max as to what you can utilize as anticipated. So speaking with Sherry, I mean, that's the plan. Even though there's a bump, we feel it's covered and you shouldn't have to worry about the water rate impact over the next 4 years.
You know, as you know, we've had this discussion before. Water has a lot less room than obviously current fund does. And to shorten the amortization schedule significantly is just going to be too big of a hit for the water utility. You know, we've talked about the fact that doing a tank painting is $500,000-$600,000. And, you know, in a utility that isn't that great, it's a big number.
So basically, what we're looking at is having the sale in September 18th. Hopefully, the market doesn't change in the next 25 to 30 days. And really then, if the interest rate is lower than these schedules, because I think it's very conservative, it'll be a lesser impact in the water utility. And actually, the 19 debt service for the current fund budget would actually be in a better position than we're showing at almost break even, or a little $12,000 less than the 18 amount. So just cross our fingers and hopefully we ride it out the next 25 days in the marketplace.
Anyone?
I got no questions.
Anything else? No. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's your certificate.
Thank you.
We have 20 resolutions. Does anyone have any questions or comments, questions, concerns on the 20 resolutions? Seeing none, we have one ordinance for first reading. Do we have any questions on that? Seeing none, do we have any old business? Seeing none, do we have any new business? Ms. Latham?
Are we going to discuss the dumpsters and that during this?
Yeah, you want to bring it up under new business.
New
Under
business?
yeah.
New business. We're on
Okay.
new business. Go ahead.
So, I'm gonna have Sue can help me out with this. We've had some complaints, some issues going on where there are, in some cases, people who have dumpsters that are on their property for an extremely long period of time, like in one case, a couple of years. And when Chuck went to check on it, found out that we actually don't have an ordinance that restricts how long you can leave a dumpster on your property. And generally, it works out itself because if somebody, gets a dumpster and puts it in their yard, they're doing a project, they finish it up, they want it
Pay for it
gone.
and they leave, yeah.
And like in town, with the little dumpsters that we have, it's usually a 2-week period, which is very reasonable. So, so we're thinking, well, we really should have some kind of legislation that addresses this. And then also the other thing that I've had a couple of complaints about are the temporary structures that have been going up with the frames and then the tarps that go over them. And then after a few years, they start to fade and rip, and then they're like flapping all the time. So that was another issue. We don't have anything for that. And Sue had brought up some of the towns have pods. They're complaining about pods that are, we don't seem to I haven't really ever seen any pods. I've seen them occasionally, but not for extended periods of time. But, so we were talking about possibly addressing all the issues at once. And then Andrew did some more research on it and has some details for us.
Okay.
We will have 2 ordinances on the next meeting to handle the dumpster and the temporary structure. I did check with Chuck. The pods hasn't really been an issue here in town, so at this point, we don't feel that it needs to be regulated. But there will be 2 draft ordinances on the next agenda.
Mr. Owen?
The pods haven't been an issue, but how have the dumpsters and the temporary structures been an issue? Is there any
Yes.
quantifiable number?
Well,
there been complaints written? How many homeowners are we talking about?
when you have at least one that is affecting the neighborhood property, that's enough.
No, because I for one would have a problem, regulating other people's, adding another restriction, another law, if the problem is minute.
But then
I'm all, again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't discuss it. I just feel wary about introducing a new restriction and a new ordinance on something that is not currently an issue.
Mayor?
It's a property maintenance issue and it should be addressed.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see what the ordinance that comes back with in the next meeting, and we'll address it and discuss it at that meeting. We'll take it from there. Thank you. Any other new business? Mr. Mania?
You finished?
Oh, I just, well,
Oh, I'm
it's a-
sorry.
it's a-
Finished.
well,
Sorry.
no, it's a different new business, so.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Okay.
finish.
I just also wanted to ask, I have to ask Andrew, people this is gonna sound crazy, but your garbage and your recycling cans, aren't they supposed to go out, like, in the morning? Well, it's okay to put them out the night before, but when the garbage is picked up, it has to be pulled back in.
Yes, there's a time frame of when they could go out and when they need to be
Right,
pulled
that's,
back in,
that's what I
so
thought. I just wanted, I was gonna call you today and ask
Yeah.
you, yeah, 'cause that's
that is in there.
another issue that's going on. So, it's all about property maintenance.
Mr. Mania?
Thank you, Mr. President. I addressed with Andrew during the week about the detention pond behind the All Veterans Memorial. The growth in there is filled the whole top of the pond. I happened to witness a duck that was caught in it. I was tempted to go out there to help it, but I was told the muck is real bad in there, and it's quite deep in the center.
You should have gone.
Duck would have pulled them in.
Did
I'm
it get
just
out?
wondering if we can do anything with this.
I did reach out to our consultant. He was gonna go there either today or tomorrow to inspect it, so he'll give me a recommendation and then I'll present that to the council.
Would that have to be an outside contractor to do?
Yeah, it'd be similar to treatment that we do to, but like some type of treatment or raking.
Thank you.
Ms. Lebo?
Since we're talking about property maintenance, on the town side property maintenance, I noticed that right out here, where the sign stuff, the little part there, used to be really nice with flowers and stuff, and now it just looks like really overgrown. And then at the corner of Flanders Road and Flanders, what is that? Flanders Necon Road there, by the pool. There's these two beautiful, walls that have, welcome to Mount Olive, and there's no plants. And,
Send me something.
okay, yeah,
Send me something, I'll get it over to Tim.
okay, yeah, 'cause
take a
I was,
look
I
at
was
it.
very disappointed.
All the plants were taken out of there for whatever
They
reason.
have, yeah, and they haven't
whole
been
area.
there. Yeah, they haven't, nothing's been in there for a long time, and I just,
Like I said, send me something. It's
will.
probably the wrong time of the year to plant something there now, but maybe come spring, I'll put it on their radar to.
well, if we decide to put evergreens in there, it's the right time of the year, because you want to plant
Like I
greens in
said,
the
if you,
fall.
if you send me something and
Okay,
CC
I
Andrew on
will.
it, we'll take care of it.
Okay, just not to be super picky, but I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did just clean out this area because it was
Oh, did you
more
clean?
weed area,
Okay.
more
It was more,
weed
2 weeks
growth.
ago, it was like all weeds,
Yeah,
I'm like,
we just
what's
cleaned that
going
up, and
on?
we'll look at the other side as well.
That's why I thought Pride was gonna work on flower boxes.
Can you also get Tim to mow the side of the road where River and Drakestown come together, because the site distance is difficult at this point.
Anything else,
He's
Ms.
done
Lebo?
it before.
No, I'm good, I'm done complaining for tonight.
No problem. Any other new
I'm
business?
finished.
Seeing none, anyone from the public wish to be heard at this time? Seeing none, close to the public. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Open the Mount Olive Township Council meeting for August 21st, 2018. Michelle, would you read the Open Public Meetings Act, please?
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda. Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mrs. Labow.
Here.
Mr. Mania.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. Nacastro.
Here. Mr. Ferrante, would you please approve the minutes from August 7, 2018 workshop and public meeting, please?
Sure, I make a motion for approval of the August 7th, 2018 workshop and public meeting minutes.
Second.
Anyone from the public? Seeing none, anyone from council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ferrante.
Abstain.
Mrs. Labow.
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes, we have 21 pieces of correspondence. Does anyone have anything on those? Seeing none, we have 20 resolutions. Does anyone wish to move any to non-consent? Seeing none, Mr. Mania, would you move
Judge.
resolution?
Mr. President,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
move-
Oh, I'm
Ms. Laban?
sorry. I was going to, for number 21,
You want to move it to non-consent? Or
is that the, yes.
20?
20. Go out.
There's no 21.
No, oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the correspondence. I'll discuss it later.
Okay. So none moving. Mr. Mania, would you move resolutions
Thank you,
1
Mr.
through
President.
20?
I move for approval of the 20 resolutions.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Close to the public. Anyone from council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Ferrante,
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow,
Yes.
Mr. Mania,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Roman,
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes.
I have a question about ordinances. Did we
I
take
skipped
that
the,
one off?
Yeah.
yeah, I think I went out of order, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, that's why you
Yep.
threw me off there for a
It's at the
second.
bottom.
I know, it was at the bottom of the other one, I apologize, but I will open the next item on the agenda with
They use larger font for mine.
ordinance. I just skipped through it. Ordinance number 23-2018, an ordinance appropriating $391,920 from two grants from the Morris County Board of Chosen Freeholders for the Seward House project in and by the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, New Jersey. Mrs. Laybow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that for adoption and final passage of ordinance number 23-2018.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, anyone from council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ferrante.
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow,
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes. Now that we did the resolutions, we move to the bill list. Mr. Stewart, would you please move the bill list?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption and final passage, the bill list.
I'll second it.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Close to the public. Anyone from council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ferrante.
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow.
Yes.
Mr. Mania.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Roman.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes. Administrative reports.
The Festival of Lights will be Monday, December 3rd, 6:30 to 9:30. Tree lighting will be Friday, December 7th, 2018, 7 to 9:30. This Saturday, Food Truck and Fireworks Festival. Over 24 food trucks and 20 vendors, and the weather looks to be perfect this Saturday night.
Nice. Knock on wood.
And if you didn't have an opportunity to go, National Night Out was a huge success, well-attended, and the feedback was incredible.
It was great.
And congratulations to the U8, U10, and U12 girls for a phenomenal season.
Excellent.
Thank you. Anything else from administration? Seeing none. Old business? Seeing none. Any new business?
I'm just going to say, I guess it's new business, maybe council comments, whatever, but I'm sure a lot of us, if not all of us, have heard that Mayor Mike Datcherson passed away suddenly on Wednesday. Mike's wife, actually, Kathy, and I grew up together, so it was really devastating. And I just want to say he did an excellent job. He was a councilman for 15 years, I think, and a mayor for about 5, and he is definitely going to be missed and sorely missed. I did receive phone calls in the past couple weeks from some of the residents that Mike had suggested that, give me a call to help them out with something. And the accolades that these people, they just love him. Absolutely love him. He's going to be very missed tremendously. And so I do send out my condolences, and my thoughts and prayers are with the family and Rockaway Township. It's hard when you have, and of course I sent Rob
Don't go there.
I sent him a text right away. How you feeling?
I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the wake yesterday, and the turnout was just phenomenal. There were 3 and 4 hour waits to get in, and it's like a wonderful life. You don't know how many people's lives you actually touch until, unfortunately, it's too late. But I'm sure that the family took great solace in the fact that the turnout countywide was incredible.
Especially somebody like Mike, he just he just went about and helped anybody and everybody he could at any given time. You don't.
Very much like me.
Yes, very much like you. Absolutely. So yeah, it's devastating.
It is, and we all
It's
agree
very
with
hard.
this.
Very
Laybow?
hard.
Any other new business? Seeing none. Any legal matters?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Council reports. Mr. Ferranti, anything on environmental lake or library?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Stewart, anything on economic or community action panel?
EDC's next meeting is next week, the 30th. And Community Action Panel doesn't meet again until the September 27th.
Thank you. Mrs. Laybow, Board of Health, Stigma, or Legislative?
Nope, everybody's sort of taking August off.
Yep, it seems like it. Mr.
They
Mania,
resuming in
Planning Board?
September.
No meeting last week.
Mr. Roman, Recreation or Pride?
I have nothing to report.
Anyone from the public have anything to say? Seeing none, close to the public. Any council comments? Mr. Ferrante?
Nothing tonight.
Mrs. Laybow?
I'm good.
Mr. Mania?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
Yeah, just echo the mayor's thing on the phenomenal job by the girls with all the
Oh, yeah.
softball work, just phenomenal. And then last Wednesday, a big shout out to the sheriff and to the county prosecutor. They had an opioid crisis workshop down in Rockaway, and there was about 200 people in attendance. It was very eye-opening and
Oh, yeah.
spectacular job they did on it.
Thank you,
Posted
Mr.
that
Roman.
on the
I have nothing.
stigma-free.
And I have nothing. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all.
Pleasure meeting you. Best of luck to you.